right. Well, Rachel, thank you for joining our podcast today. Why don't we start with a quick introduction to what your role is at Accenture and what Accenture does?
Absolutely. Well, firstly, thank you very much for having me. It's a topic close to my heart, so I'm excited to get into parental return to work. But about me, my name is Rachel, and I am the Inclusion and Diversity Lead for the Netherlands and the Nordics here at Accenture, which means that I look after and create a culture of belonging for all of our people and all of our colleagues here across the MU, and obviously working more broadly with EMEA and Europe and global teams as well. That means creating learning moments, that means creating awareness, that means hosting events, global, local events. Obviously, we had like International Women's Day very recently, we're coming up on Pride. And making sure that all of our colleagues and our stakeholders are aware of the work that we're doing, because creating a culture of belonging takes all of us.
Indeed. Yeah. All right. And so, why don't you share a bit more about an overview of Accenture's parental leave reboarding program. I think we met at a conference, and there was a lot of buzz around what Accenture does, because it's sounds like a really great structured program. So could you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I would absolutely love to. So this is a program that was launched in 2024 here in the Netherlands. And it's to support mothers specifically who are returning to work after their maternity leave. We know that it's a period of immense change, physically, emotionally, mentally, everything that goes. I'm a working mum myself. I think that's really important to say at this point. So I have two beautiful children. And I know how hard it is coming back to work and what you're leaving behind at home, and how we wear those two different hats of being a mom and being a professional, and how we can be a professional working mum. And those first few months are so important as you go through this huge change. And what we wanted to do at Accenture was support that, because I think if you come back to work feeling supported, you're likely to stay, you're likely to want to be here. It's a place where you can be your authentic working mom self, to be able to juggle those two hats that you have. So the program itself is about the first few months. So I think we'll talk a little bit later about the process behind it. But ultimately, after you come back to work, after your maternity leave, there is what we call a ramp up back to full client work. So to give a little bit of background, at Accenture, we have something called chargeability. And that's something that our business colleagues are measured against. It's a target, it's a KPI that everybody has. And we submit timesheets every couple of weeks that shows where we've been spending our time. And essentially, what we want our business colleagues to be doing is spending time on client work. That's what our business does. That generates our revenue. That helps us grow. That's the work you're doing. But because it is a goal, because it is a target, because it is a KPI, there can be some pressure around that to keep your chargeability high. And what this does, this program for our working mums, is take that pressure off for the first few months of their return. So specifically, what we look at is day 1 to 30 after your return. There is a 0% chargeability target on you. You are empowered, in conjunction with your people lead, and I think we'll talk about what the role of the people lead again, but with your people lead, to settle back in, find a project that's going to work for you, get used to being back in the routine and the rhythm of work, reconnect with your colleagues, and just have that opportunity to reacquaint yourself, with your working mom persona, right? So that's the first 30 days. In the second phase, so that's day 31 to 60, there is the reintroduction of client-facing work. So hopefully you found a project that suits your interests, your needs, your career aspirations. Talking big here, but something that might be a bit closer to your home. Because, hey, if you live in Delft like I do, maybe I don't want to be traveling to Tilburg or Utrecht for a client. Maybe I
Right.
can find something closer in Rotterdam or Amsterdam or The
Mhm.
Hague that
Right.
can support me being able to get back and forth for drop-offs and pickups, right?
Yeah.
So that first part is about making sure we're trying to really find a good fit. And
Yeah.
then that client work starts to ramp up to about 60% chargeability. So there's still some leeway
Mm.
to kind of
Mhm.
be reintroducing. And then from day 60 onwards, you would be quote unquote back to normal. And that
Yeah.
chargeability client work, that routine is hopefully a little bit more established.
Yeah.
And you're really confident that you're in the right place and managing those balances of time and commitments at home and at work.
Wow.
um, and you're fully supported to do that, and you're fully supported to do it however you want to do it. Some people take the whole 60 days, some people take the first month, some people take a bit,
Mhm.
but the point is that those first 2 months that are so critical
Yes.
can be really, really important and help support that return.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just working mom myself and remember kind of returning back, and especially for high achieving top performers,
Absolutely.
to have taken the time off. There's an immense amount of guilt that comes for being away. And so there is that urge to just, go from like 0 to 100, like prove your value, show that you still
Exactly.
got it. And my first manager, it's a quote that I love sharing. She reminded me, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so
Yes.
it's so great that at Accenture, this has been kind of formalized and structured so that you
Mm,
are given that breathing room your first month back to
exactly.
assess what kind of changes you need. So that's incredible. What would you say? Yeah, you mentioned kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I started talking about the process. I
Yeah.
imagine that doing something this kind of structural
Yeah.
really required a lot of buy-in from stakeholders. Can you just walk, you know, through what that
Sure.
process was, who you
Yeah.
needed to get buy-in, and how this came to be?
Yeah, of course, because you're right. Policy change does require a team behind it
Mm-hmm.
to enact this, and I think this was part passion project, and that's what we really empower employees to do and colleagues to do. If there is a real interest that you
Mm-hmm.
have, how can we help that? How can we support that? How can we get that through? So it came through a combination of HR and some of our really brilliant working moms in HR, a collaboration with our Working Parents Network, health and
Mm-hmm.
well-being. I know we're really involved in this as well to kind of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
tie in with mental health and burnout, sickness, all of those elements. So those groups came together to put this business case
Mm-hmm.
to the business. And then what you need to do is obviously create what the changes that you want to implement are, what the impacts it will have, use the data that's available to us about how many people have been on maternity leave, how many return,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the trajectory of what those returning
Mm-hmm.
parents are doing. And then it needs to go through approval processes, of course. So we went through
Mm-hmm.
HR. Is this going to land well? How do we feel about it? How does this fit with the existing policies that we already have? Like we can do the, and also I think with the wider Dutch law around parental leave
Mm-hmm.
that you can have, and how it's really nice to kind of support the new, well, not new anymore, but those 9 weeks at 70% that you get,
Right.
and all of that kind of stuff in the background.
Yeah.
But we talk to HR, we talk to leadership, because obviously without leadership buy-in, this isn't going to go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. But
Yeah.
then we also had to go to our Works Council as well. So the Works Council are
Mm-hmm.
responsible for supporting things like policy change. So once you've presented to all of those, then we can get together, we can approve it, and we can put it through and make those changes to the policy that we have. So that was the process. And then after that, what we have to do is communicate about it. And we have
Yeah.
to tell people that we've done this, tell people they can use it, tell people how to use it. Who are the people around that working mom,
Mm-hmm.
that pregnant woman who is going on maternity leave? What support do they have, and how can they help to make sure that this parental reboarding program is an option and is used I think.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, what is that like in terms of the communication and the manager reboarding? I'm curious kind of
Yeah.
what the feedback what has been since launching the program.
Yeah, definitely. So Accenture, just for a little bit of context,
Yeah.
every employee, every colleague has what's called a people lead. So you might have your manager on your client account, you have your team manager, but everybody has a designated specific people lead who's there to support your career development, and they're the ones that will do things like your performance reviews and all of that feedback loop that we have. So when you put in a maternity leave request, there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole series of automated emails that come through
Mm,
because obviously,
mm-hmm.
you have to go into the system, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
But within that communication, you get information, both your people lead and the counsellee, the person leaving, about the parental reboarding program. So what we want is in those conversations leading up to someone going on maternity leave to start already thinking about the return to work and what that plan could look like and how you can use the parental reboarding program. So that it's not something which is just an add-on when you come back, but it's a
Mm,
proactive part of the process and a
mm-hmm.
proactive part of the conversations to make that individual feel supported throughout their journey.
Yeah.
So I think what's really key here is the automation of that and making sure that the
Yeah.
communication goes into every single part of
Mm-hmm.
that journey, going on maternity leave and then beyond. So when you're maybe having your check-in conversation just before you're going to return, it comes up again. Okay, how can we
Yeah.
support you? How can we use this? How are you feeling? What is the
Yes.
way that we can make the most of this for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
So that is the key that we
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that everyone involved in the process understands that it's there. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, I
that.
mean, it's amazing because I mean the thing that jumped out of what you just shared is like proactive.
Yeah.
And that this is really a proactive. You don't wait, you're not putting the onus and the responsibility of asking for help on the returning parent, on the mother who is already sleep deprived, who's gone through all these changes, because like arguably you can self advocate for kind of a decrease in or some
Mm,
time to ramp up, but the fact that it is proactive, that there's this automation, I think what I'm hearing is to kind of launch a program like this, you really need
yeah,
all of the people, the policy,
yeah,
and the processes all to line up to
I agree.
really create a proactive program.
I could
Yeah.
not agree more. And I think the other thing and lesson learned here is it's not a one-time thing. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, we put the automation in. We are always looking to improve. So recently we've improved our reporting. So people who are going through the parental reboarding when it first launched had no way to kind of register themselves or the people need to register
Mm-hmm.
someone. Okay, it was there, it was being used. We heard anecdotal
Mm-hmm.
evidence, we heard case studies, but now we've implemented a proper reporting process so that we can
Amazing.
start to track exactly how many people are
Measuring.
using it and
Mm-hmm.
how, and the measurement of it. But when we launched it, we did a fantastic communications program
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and I think on an ongoing basis, we need to keep reminding people it's there. So, yes, it's all in the communication, but we all get 1,000 emails a day,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, what are the other avenues that we can use? People lead trainings, town
Mm-hmm.
halls, team meetings,
Mm-hmm.
um, check-in moments, whatever it happens to be, to reinforce and reiterate that
Yeah.
this is here for people to be able to use. And
Mm-hmm.
that requires, someone to own it. That requires
Yeah.
someone to be responsible to continue
Mm-hmm.
the drip, drip, drip of,
Mm-hmm.
did you know this is here? Did you know this is here? Did you know this is here? When someone new
Mm-hmm.
in HR joins, are they aware of the process? Can they continue to advocate for it? So, what are all the
Mm-hmm.
different touch points of
Mm-hmm.
someone's journey to becoming a parent that we need to make sure people are involved and aware of to be able to
Yeah.
promote this program?
Amazing. Yeah, it's not a set it and forget it. Like it is an active kind of management and the continual kind of communication to share
Agreed.
that this is a great kind of program that you created. Aside from the parental reboarding program, what other initiatives or things are in place to support working parents at Accenture?
How long have you got? I'm
Amazing.
very proud to say there's a long list.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah.
top of that list is our Working Parents Network. So at Accenture, we have many, many different networks for all kinds of different lived experiences and demographics, right? But we have a really active Working Parents Network. And I'm really proud to be able to say that our lead is an alumni of the parental reboarding program. So she went through this when she returned to work with her son and found it incredibly valuable. And now she's back and what have you, but she's now the lead of our working parents. So again, that advocate is there. And we held a working parents event a couple of weeks ago, and there was someone who was pregnant in the room. And again, it's an opportunity, right? That pregnant lady is going to go on maternity leave. We can talk about it. Hey, I put my hand up. I did it. I did this. So we're gathering those testimonies. But the Working Parents Network has a whole ton of resources. So Working Parents Deck, which outlines all the leave that you can take, how to take it, how to raise the tickets. It has information about the Dutch systems for nursery and school, and also just allows people to connect. So regardless of where you're coming from, mums and dads can come together for events, lunches, networking. We hold a family day every year.
Oh,
in the
amazing.
Office, which was really great in last September. So that is a really key part of our inclusion and diversity, that the network is there for anyone who needs to use it to share a lived experience with other people going through the same thing as you. We have also lots of health and well-being support. So things like Rethink Care. We have a partnership with Rethink Care, and that has lots and lots of tips, videos, tricks, and also a counselling service. So I will put my hand up and say I've used it myself. You get a certain number of free hours per year to be able to call and talk to someone, a trained professional, about your children. So there's a couple so I've used it a couple of times when I was like, I think I'm doing the right thing here, but I'm not really sure. Let me talk to somebody, and they can just be that impartial ear. So there's resources like that as well that are open to everybody. I think those are the key ones, but I think it builds into that broader culture that we're trying to build here, or we are building here, that everyone can be their authentic self. We have flexible working, we do all of the different leaves. And I think being your authentic self and having the safety to stand up or sit down in the morning and say, hey, my kid was sick in the middle of the night last night, she was. Okay, great. So this morning, I just need a little bit more time and an extra coffee, and then I'm going to be with you. And that whole openness is the kind of culture that we want to foster, to make sure whether you're mom, dad, LGBTQI, whoever it is, neurodiverse, disability, you can be your authentic self. And I think that's really key, really key to success for yourself, and also for, from a business perspective as well. If we have diverse teams with different opinions, different lived experiences, we can always be better, learn more, and be more innovative and creative.
Absolutely. So well said. It is the foundation, which this culture of openness, it's all of you can build all of these programs, but if that culture isn't there, if that foundation is shaky, then the success of these programs, or even the ability to build them, would be very challenging. So, well, we're wrapping up soon. So a final question for you is, if what would your advice be if perhaps another larger professional services firm or a different kind of company wants to do something that you all did with the parental reboarding program?
Do it, because it's brilliant and it helps. I think don't let the perceived barriers stop you, because I think there are ways to get around it, overcome it. And if you've got the right people in the right room advocating for what it is that you want to do, because you have presented the case, built the case, and you have a really practical, tangible and achievable solution, I would say that there shouldn't be a
Mhm.
much pushback, because it's the right thing to do for
Mhm.
your people. And if you have an inclusive and you have an open mindset, and that's what you want to create in your business, that includes working parents, and it
Yeah.
includes everybody else who has any kind, we're all multifaceted and we're all wearing so many different hats. And I
Mhm.
think if there's something that you can create that supports that really key
Mhm.
change, go
Mhm.
ahead and do it, because you'll be surprised how many other people will either get on board, oh my gosh, that's a great idea, I didn't even know we could do that, or support it and say, why haven't we done it sooner? Or even just say,
Mhm.
I wish I had that when I was going on maternity leave.
Mhm.
So you might think that you are the only one who thinks this is important, but I can guarantee you that that is not the
Mhm.
case.
Mhm.
So do your research, build the case, identify who the key people are who need to support you, and and go for it. Because the way that you will support your talent, retain your talent, build a diverse team that is better for your business cannot be underestimated. Go
I
for
love
it.
it. That's a good mic drop moment. Well, thank you so much,
You're
Rachel,
welcome.
for spending time and
Of course.
sharing more about the amazing parental reboarding program that Accenture has launched. So, kudos to you and the entire team for creating this program, and thank you so much again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Carla.
Bye.